So I've never done a channel before, but figured not many people have these cars, at least on video. So maybe I would do one. But with that being said, a little bit of background. I've probably owned about 70 cars in my lifetime, which is more than some of my friends and less than others. But these are just a few of the ones I actually have pictures of. And of course, you know, car stuff everywhere. Been to SEMA a couple times. Have a collection of all my old toys as a kid when it came to cars. Just a little bit of all that. Even a tractor. Me and my son mess around with a 65 Fairlane. Bunch of just my plates, family plates, and just plates. Stuff like that. Little collectibles here and there. Nothing fancy though. But I've never had a wraparound windshield type vehicle like from the 50s. So I bought a 59 Edsel. So we'll see how that comes out. So I got a few things I got to move around before I bring it in the garage. Got to do some brake work, but we'll take a look at this thing and show you what I got. Distinctive 59 patina field car, loaded with mice mice droppings and things like that when I got it. Definitely has some rotted interior. Carpet was gone. 103,000 miles on it. You know, it's got some shabbiness to it. Got mice holes in the headliners. A little bit everywhere, but turns out to be buff interior, snow white trim with snow white trim. Let's see. But everything seems to work on it now that it's been fixed. Mice chewed up all the wiring and whatnot. Didn't have taillights, didn't have headlights, didn't have reverse lights, wouldn't start and park, things like that. Has a little bit of cancer. I've already done some work to it since I got it, where all the lights are working, replaced a bunch of taillights, housings, lenses. It's got a nice hit right there that led into the quarter panel. A little bit of the quarter panel on the top here too. Definitely an Edsel Ranger model, but it's got quite a bit of Bondo in the door. I've got another door for it, need to put that on. Yep, the antenna is just kind of sitting there. Towed it home like that, surprised it didn't blow off. But it used to be a Durango, Colorado car near Indian country. Bought it from a friend of their family, I guess, and supposedly the engine's rebuilt, transmission's rebuilt, rear end's rebuilt, the brakes pure new, but with not, you know, like no hardware put in that was new. So that's what I need to work on. I found the ever beloved mirror for this thing, you know, the Edsel mirror, so paid up for that. But driver quality, the car's going to remain driver quality. Gonna leave it patina mostly, but put some wipers on it. I still got to hook up the wiring for the wipers because they chewed that up too. So, but yeah, we'll fire this thing up, see if I can get her going this morning again and get it in the garage. So one thing about this car, it came with 3 different keys. One for the trunk, one for the ignition, and one for the doors. So I don't know if things have been changed out or if that's just the way it was. Don't really know. One thing to make note of, I don't know if you can hear that. Clock still works. Radio does too once you let it warm up. But this thing definitely takes a lot to start. Starter even sticks sometimes. As you can hear. If I can get it to unstick. There we go. Guess I gotta get that work done because we don't need to be driving with the starter engaged. Yeah, nice holes. It's got the compass. It's got what's left of a visor. No visor over there. Gotta have the smell good trees. But actually, this car actually smells like an old car now that I got all the mice and rat stuff out of it. Again, no carpet. It does collect water whenever it rains or snows. Actually started pretty easy compared to before. Windows work. Again, supposedly rebuilt. I don't know. We'll let this warm up a little bit and come back. So, probably can't hear me very well. I'll try and be close to the camera, but I got it running and fired right up actually first time. I think there's a reason for that. I'll show that later. But you got to hear this thing. The exhaust is just all bent up, but she runs pretty good actually. When I first got it, I couldn't get the hood open. I just WD-40'd the cable underneath the hood. And then it started working like a charm. Again, supposedly rebuilt 61? 303 horsepower from the factory. A way small battery. But, I don't know if you can see this or not, but I did some wiring repairs right here. You can still see there's one to go, which is for the wipers from the mice chewing it up. But as far as not running right, they got this damper on this, or whatever you want to call it, on the exhaust on the passenger side that I guess when it heats up it opens up. Maybe it helps it heat up, I don't know. But I wired it open right here so that way that thing would idle, and it actually idles now, and it'll actually go into gear without dying, which it did all the time until it was super hot. So if I go to look at this, I don't even know what the temp was when I got it, because usually it'd have to be about 200 degrees, believe it or not. Yeah, so see, it's about 200 still. So I think it's got either no thermostat or a 195-ish in there. Probably should be a 165, but nonetheless, again, a little bit of a walk around, a few dead moths need to get rid of. These wipers tell a story. I'll have to fill you in on that too, because in order for them to fit on there, they've got to have the right clip, and I actually bought those for about 30 bucks with a box of other just junk parts that a guy bought on a estate sale. Was about to throw them away and didn't know I even needed them until I went to put wipers on it, and then here we are. You can see like a bunch of trim is damaged, but I've got all replacements for that. I've got a bumper in the backyard. I also have a bunch of parts out in California. In about 2.5 weeks, going to pick all that up and bring it out here, and I'll have another bumper and more bumpers and more parts. I think there's Corsair parts in there, so we'll get that stuff on here so you guys can see what I have, because a lot of it I'm not going to need. So, but since I got it for cheap, I figured why not. It cost me more to go pick it up, so be interesting. But again, I bought this car because of this right here. These wraparound windows. Never had one. I think they're so cool. You would think it would be easier to get in the car, but I wouldn't say that it actually is, especially for a tall guy like me. But yeah, again, well, the car's not holding water back, so I can't put carpet in it. I really need to wash all this out to get the rest of the mice, you know, pee and all that stuff out of there. Door panels are a little bit iffy. Piece of trim that was actually missing on the car when I got it, and of course there it is on the ground. So, but I'm gonna take all these seats out and power wash all this, since it seems to be holding water anyway. It looks like the back left floor pan's got some surface rust, but it actually doesn't go through. So, good Colorado car. I'm gonna try and bust the old trunk open here. This will be interesting. Sometimes it pops first try. Sometimes it takes an hour. Sometimes it takes an hour and a half. So we'll see. We'll just get it open and not make you suffer through that. Sorry for the camera stuff. I'm still new to this, but we'll figure it out. This has a 64-ish Galaxy gas tank in it, or I don't know. It's got a Galaxy gas tank in it, and it's new, which is nice, but it doesn't fit right. The pickup is in a different. Well, not so much the pickup, but the sending unit is in a different place, so to run the gauge, so I had to like cut the wiring, extend it and all that. Like I say, it works, but it just doesn't fit right. The straps don't fit right. So I'm going to try and clean that out eventually and just put the regular tank back in it. So we'll see. I think one of the biggest problems I had was these things. These were in pretty bad shape on this car, and looking at these, some of these are still rubbery, some of them aren't, so I may switch them out. I don't know, we'll see. I have more in California, so we'll just grab the best of the best and do something with the rest. But there is no spare, so the interesting thing that I found was these have that solid rim all the way around with no ventilation, I guess what you might call it. But this one is super white and has 4 ventilations in it. So I'm assuming that might have been the spare, might have been off another car. Hard to say. But one of the other problems I've had is the passenger door doesn't always shut. I hear the lubrication in there gets kind of gummy and won't let it return, so you can't close the door. So let's see what happens. Yeah, see? Exactly. So slamming it doesn't really do the difference, but I jiggle some things around, you know, jiggle some handles around, and then I get the first latch. Good enough for now. So again, just some good. One of these days I'm going to get like the real battery for it, but this one works fine for now. The goal for today is to work on the brakes, because I had a brake spring break and it locked up the right front wheel, left a big skid mark down my driveway. So I got on with a guy known on Facebook as Gunther Tootie, and he put together a spring kit for me, bought that, and then I got all new cylinders, I got all new hoses, and got a master cylinder for it. Mine still works. It was actually empty when I got it, and I threw some brake fluid in it and got brakes. It was crazy. I mean, I just drove it in the garage. But I just figured I'm going to replace it all. Stock-wise, I could have used the money on getting like a dual master cylinder set up, but figured, yeah, what the heck. I'll just run with it. It was only like $150 for the master cylinder and all the other wheel cylinders and hoses, and yeah, may as well just keep it stock for now and see what happens. But we'll see how all that goes and show you some things along the way.